Hello, fellow public health professionals, and thank you for allowing me to present on an outbreak investigation of an emerging or re-emerging disease. Today I will discuss an outbreak that has already occurred and the steps I would have taken for an investigation. The outbreak we will review is of Listeria in a Springfield, Ohio, dole processing facility for packaged salads. I wanted to provide some background information for you. Listeriosis is a serious infection caused by the bacterium Listeria monocytogenes. An estimated 1,600 people get listeriosis each year and about 260 die. Regarding transmission, foodborne infection in humans occurs through the consumption of contaminated foods, particularly unpasteurized milk, soft cheeses, vegetables, and prepared meat products. Unlike most foodborne pathogens, Listeria multiplies readily in refrigerated foods that have been contaminated. Transmission is also possible from mother to fetus or from mother to child during birth. In pregnant women, transmission of infection to the fetus may lead to stillbirth, septicemia, or neonatal meningitis. Cutaneous infections have been reported very rarely among veterinarians and farmers following direct animal contact, particularly involving livestock products of conception. The population affected is most likely pregnant women and their newborns, adults aged 65 or older, and people with weakened immune systems. Otherwise healthy young people only rarely develop invasive listeriosis. Listeria infections can affect the bloodstream, causing sepsis, or the brain, causing meningitis or encephalitis. This is distributed worldwide, and there's a high prevalence of a few frequent clones in distinct world regions. Dispersal is by human travel, animal or food trade, wild animal migration, or wind and dust. And listeriosis is a major public health concern in all world regions, with an increasing incidence in Europe, especially among elderly persons. The annual incidence of laboratory-confirmed listeriosis in the United States is about 0.24 cases per 100,000 population. The U.S. Healthy People 2020 target for listeriosis is 0.2 cases per 100,000. This figure shows the number of isolates from 7 world regions where the most prevalent clones of Listeria monocytogenes are found, so as you can see, this really does occur worldwide. A few outbreaks of listeriosis are identified most years, and outbreak investigations help show which foods are sources of listeriosis. Now let's talk about this outbreak. Listeria specimens were collected from July 5, 2015 to January 31, 2016. Evidence indicated that packaged salads produced at the Dole processing facility in Springfield, Ohio, and sold under various brand names were the likely source of this outbreak. A total of 19 people were infected with the outbreak strain of Listeria and were reported from 9 states: Missouri, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Ill people ranged in age from 3 to 83 years old, and the median age was 64. Of the ill people, 74% were female. All 19 were reported as hospitalized, and 1 person from Michigan died. One of the illnesses reported was in a pregnant woman. Ill people in Canada were infected with the same outbreak strain of Listeria. Whole genomic sequencing was performed on Listeria isolates from all 19 ill people and showed that the isolates were closely related genetically, which means that people in this outbreak were more likely to share a common source of infection, such as contaminated food. On January 27, 2016, Dole voluntarily recalled all salad mixes produced in the Springfield, Ohio processing facility. This shows the distribution of cases, which you can see is mostly in the central to northeast region. This graph shows the number of people infected with the outbreak strain of Listeria monocytogenes by week of isolation date, and as you can see, the recall date is in there as well. As you can see here, these are the steps to take for an outbreak investigation. The steps I would have taken to conduct an investigation here would have been to identify a multidisciplinary investigation team, including epidemiologists, healthcare professionals, laboratorians, etc., and assign responsibilities in order to begin the investigation as soon as possible. I would also conduct progress meetings at regular intervals. Cooperation and communication are key elements for a smooth investigation process. I would then verify the diagnosis by lab tests via the hospitalizations of those who are ill. Then I would identify and confirm the cases by having team members from the state and local health departments interview ill people about the foods they may have eaten or other exposures in the month before their illness began to compare results to see if there are any patterns. Then the data would be collected and tabulated, and we would choose a study design, in this case most likely a case control study. We would then use a questionnaire that we had developed to determine risk information and collect pertinent information. Then an environmental investigation would be conducted. The health departments and Department of Agriculture would perform routine sampling visits in retail locations such as grocery stores to test packaged salads from Dole's facility for presence of Listeria. Then a hypothesis would be developed and tested after conducting interviews and having conversations with those who were ill and cross-checking what foods they all ate to see if there were similarities. We would then communicate the findings through local, state, and federal channels such as local health departments, the CDC, USDA, etc. Outbreaks afford opportunities to gain information about diseases, pathogens, and changing risk factors for disease. Thank you all for your attention today.